One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
What he's doing on a 5-day basis, and when he pitches at that ballpark, there's one thing you notice: there's not one empty seat.
The excitement he's brought to that city, and the fact that fans are starting to come back, especially on the nights he pitches, I mean, it is so cool to see. It's so overdue, and you can't help but root for Pittsburgh.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
You mean to tell me Kevin Durant could just get a free trip and Jaylen Brown telling y'all I can play? Y'all won't put what they got to get. They will not put Jaylen Brown on the team. They'll give them who get hurt.
He's an NBA professional, billionaire, superstar player. I feel like this is just an opinion. The Olympics should be about Olympians, not about pros that come to represent as Olympians.
Only on SportsGrid.
Now, this is how you want to start a second hour of the early line on this Thursday on SportsGrid. He is Donnie. I am Ben. It is talking season in college football today on a Thursday afternoon, the fourth and final day of ACC Media Days and in Charlotte, the third and final day of Big Ten Media Days in Indianapolis. It should be a lot of fun to break down the topics that we are going to discuss live right here to start off this second hour. Then we'll get into the first day, the opening day of the Olympics, even before tomorrow's opening ceremonies, and already some controversy. So far, if you're keeping track at home, we've had an incredibly questionable ending to an actual match played yesterday in the men's soccer tournament between Argentina and Morocco. That followed a day where we had a spying drone scandal on the women's side with New Zealand and Canada. The Olympics off to a flying start. We'll have a ton of Olympic conversation here in this second hour.
We need that. You need controversy right during the Olympics here. We got a lot to watch, so why not add on top of it with some of these hot topics? And also, teams trying to get ahead, trying their best both on the pitch and off the pitch here. But the one thing you don't like to see is, number one, the crowd gets involved. Never a good thing. But number two, when technology gets involved very late, you figure you won, you didn't win, you got to go back to play again. The fans are angry. That just never should happen at that point. So who knows? And also, you said it might have been a questionable call as well, which is even worse at that point.
Yeah, controversial, questionable, whatever word you want to use. When it comes to talking season and media days and whatever conference to get ready for a new college football season, you never want to be the guy that takes over social media. You never want to say something either so stupid or incoherent that you become a viral moment. Enter Mike Gundy a couple of weeks ago in Las Vegas at Big 12 Media Days when he said, who amongst us hasn't driven drunk thousands of times, knocking back a couple of beers behind the wheel? Well, yesterday, it was first-year head coach Deshaun Foster. Nothing inflammatory, as he took the stage for UCLA, where he played at his alma mater in the early 2000s as a running back for the Bruins and became the unlikely head coach after Chip Kelly back in February, left Westwood to go become the offensive coordinator, a demotion of sorts for Ohio State. So Deshaun Foster maybe wasn't ready for his first Big Ten media days, despite having plenty of time to prepare. Now, I cannot believe, because it was the viral moment of Wednesday, that my co-host, who loves these moments more than anything, Donnie Rightside, has not seen this video. So here it is. You'll get Donnie's live reaction of Deshaun Foster's opening statement yesterday at Big Ten Media Days.
How you guys doing? I'm happy to be here. Glad to be a part of this great conference. Finally putting two great emblems together, UCLA and the Big Ten. We're a school that's won, 123 championships, so this fits us being right in this conference. Football-wise, we're just excited. I'm sure you guys don't know too much about UCLA, but our football program, but we're in LA. It's us and USC.
Somebody save him.
Somebody slip him a note.
I'm just basically excited, really. That's it. Any questions?
Man.
I mean, all time, man. All time. Deshaun Foster throughout the day was interviewed a ton. He was on programs, on TV shows, everything that you would expect in the media car wash that is media days. And he actually is a very personable and energetic individual, despite describing himself as not necessarily a rah-rah guy. But that's like having to give a PowerPoint presentation in high school on a book that you didn't read a single word of, or the teacher randomly calling on you to do last night's reading when you haven't done a single lick of it. The great part about it, Donnie, it was not a question, a hardball journalistic investigation type question about some kind of scandal this year in Westwood for UCLA. That's the opening statement. He's supposed to have a pre-planned speech. One of the many sports information people and PR representatives of UCLA football couldn't have written him a two-line to go out there in state. They couldn't have given him even just that final bit where he goes, hey, I'm Deshaun Foster. I'm the new head coach of the UCLA football program. We're excited to be a part of the Big Ten. Any questions? It was all time yesterday out of Deshaun Foster.
It certainly was. But again, like sometimes I say to myself, okay, if you're first time in that position, it might be a little bit tough. But I even throw that out the door. Deshaun Watson lives in Los Angeles. They asked this man to go halfway across the country to Indianapolis and be excited about being in an empty Foster, being in an empty arena at that point where I can hear it echoing in the background. And the reason, Ben, why I was echoing, there's probably nobody there. Like nobody goes to Indianapolis for this stuff here. You should have had it in Los Angeles. It would have been fantastic. The weather would have been glorious. There would have been a lot of superstars showing up and the energy would have been high. So I don't blame UCLA for being dragged out of Los Angeles, flown to Indianapolis, and expected to be absolutely on fire here at a press conference. Look, I'm gonna give Deshaun the time that he needs at this point. You know what? I don't blame you, man. I'd have been the same way.
Here I was excited for you to see that clip for the first time, to crack a couple of jokes, to laugh. Instead, you take another shot at the greatest sports hosting city in this country, that is Indianapolis. By the way, yesterday in Indy, Nebraska was at the podium. Iowa was at the podium. If you want to see a packed arena for media days, it's when those two coaches and those two fan bases and those two local reporting. Oh, they were hot. It was good. It was good stuff yesterday. Kirk Ferentz saying he expects to have a good offense this year. Matt Rule saying that the Big Ten should automatically get 4 programs in to the college football playoff. We spoke with Rhett Lewis yesterday, who was there at Big Ten Media Days, is going to do work for the Big Ten Network this year, the host in Believe in Big Ten, that might be on these airwaves in recent days, about the additions of the 4 West Coast newcomers and what they will add or bring to this conference. Donnie, I know you have a take on this. because the win totals for some proud powerhouse programs of the West Coast entering their opening year in the Big Ten are not overly optimistic. Oregon does have the second best price and the second highest win total in all of the league, 10.5 and at 2-1, only trailing Ohio State. USC 7.5. Washington, last year's national runner-up, just a 6.5. And UCLA and Deshaun Foster not expected to make a lot of headway this year in the Big Ten. 4.5 the win total for the Bruins, a team that has won at least 8 games in each of the past 3 seasons.
You know what's funny about this? Because you know me, Ben. I've never been a proponent of the Pac-12. Like, I just couldn't stand the conference when it disbanded. We popped champagne bottles. But maybe this is a coup by the Big Ten where they go to themselves and go, you know what? We're going to make a lot of money on this. And these teams that are coming over won't even have a say in who's going to win anything here in football in the Big Ten. Now, I understand Oregon's a quality program that might do some damage, but I was really caught off guard by seeing the USC Trojans, which all I've heard about since Lincoln Riley went there was talent, a 7.5 win total when you know there's going to be 3 or 4 cupcakes already on that schedule. The Washington Huskies, who are trying to make runs in a national championship, now get into a real conference, get a 6.5. The UCLA Bruins at a 4.5 price point here. Oof, man, the Big Ten might be the big winner. And I'm not talking about the acquisition. The teams that are already in the Big Ten getting a couple layups coming over on their roster.
I mean, UCLA was gutted. Chip Kelly left as the head coach to be the OC at Ohio State. Their defensive coordinator went crosstown to be the DC at USC. There's so much more to get into around college football next.
As of July 22nd, we start a new deal with a monster distribution platform called SportsGrid, and we'll be live every day on national radio on SiriusXM channel 159, and we will be live on their national television platform every day from 10 a.m. till noon.
Only on SportsGrid.
If this wind, like we have out of the Northwest, was here all week, it would be insane watching these guys play in it. But it's going to be a southwest wind, which makes it a little easier as far as the direction of the wind. The guys will have it a little bit of a break on the back nine. But it is such a fun golf course, one that I really do think tests every single aspect of your game.
Only on SportsGrid.
Now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. But that's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Just to make one final point about the 4 West Coast newcomers into the Big Ten. Of course, Oregon optimistic in year number 3 under Dan Lanning. Second best price to win the Big Ten, only behind Ohio State, despite it being the Ducks' debut in the conference. They have the 3rd best number of all teams to reach the college football playoff nationally this year. USC has lacked a little bit of luster. I think there are fair criticisms to Lincoln Riley not getting the best of a generational type quarterback and a Heisman winner in Caleb Williams. Just 7 wins last year in the regular season. But Miller Moss did provide some glimpses in the Holiday Bowl for the Trojans. They had made a huge improvement on the defensive side of the football, getting rid finally of Alex Grinch, who came over with Lincoln from Norman, that was at Oklahoma, to Southern California. They had Danton Lynn, who was the former defensive coordinator at UCLA. Conference rivalry still maintained in the Big Ten. He is now the DC with USC. The reason Washington, DRS, has just a 6.5 win total is because only 3 starters returned from last year's team that made it to a national title game, albeit losing to Michigan. Of course, Kalen DeBoer is gone. Pretty much everybody that you know. Michael Penix Jr., Roma Dunze, Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan, everybody along the offensive line, Troy Fautanu, everybody on the defensive side of the football as well is gone. Jed Fish is the new head coach in Seattle. He built Arizona last year to a 10-win season, but his 2 main guys, Noah Fafita, the quarterback, and Teodoro McMillan, who might be one of the best wide receivers in the entire sport, remained in Tucson. That's why things are not optimistic for the Huskies this year.
Yeah, by the way, Jed Fish been around the block. Good coach all the way around. So they do have a good replacement that they got in order. I'm just interested to see how it goes because also keep in mind, it used to be back in the 80s and 90s when a lot of the major college football teams were still independents. Here's how they operated outside of a conference. Why did they used to structure their schedule, Ben, a lot of times? Let's make sure we play a game in the Northwest. Let's make sure we play a game in the Southwest. Let's play a game in the Northeast. Let's play a game in the Southeast. The reason they did that was for recruiting advantages where they can go to your living room and show up and say, hey, look, man, you are going to play here at least once a year in this building. And even if we're taking a look at a football, even into basketball, the Big Ten now has that footprint on the West Coast where they can go into a living room in Los Angeles for a player and say, we are basically the Pac-12 conference because this same team that you're going to be playing, we're going to be playing vice versa, East Coast and West Coast. I think it's a big win for a lot of Big Ten teams that usually had that footprint of let's stay in the Rust Belt here. And, it's really cold and nobody gets out to California. Now they're doing that. So I think it helps them.
Speaking of recruiting, Donnie's favorite college football program on the mic and on the podium yesterday at day number 3 of ACC Media Days in Charlotte. Mario Cristobal at ACC kickoff. Quote, NIL has been around a long, long time. It's just actually legal now. Thank you, Mario, for stating the very obvious that we have known for a very long time, especially in South Florida with this Hurricanes football program.
Exactly. So it's good to see the things that we're saying now appropriately. Like, yes, we've always been, it's around. Cheating has been here. Now we can officially do it. And quite frankly, my university is one of the best at the new cheating environment at laying out big dollars for players, whether it be basketball, women's college basketball, or the football team itself. But if you're going to lay out all that money from the boosters, you better start performing on the field. And also, what if Mario Cristobal goes, it was my dream to be a Miami Hurricane coach. I know they're not going to pay a lot. I'll take a pay decrease from Oregon to Miami. No, he got a big-time pay increase here, and you're expected to start winning football games. Now, they did have Cam Ward coming over. We'll see. It's not one of those guys that you had from your freshman year, and you saw him build all the way up to a junior or senior. He's going to have to perform right away. Fletcher Jr. still running back, talented there. Xavier Restrepo, one of the better slot receivers in the NCAA college football. The time is now because the ACC isn't quite as powerful as it was. Well, Donnie, the ACC has never been powerful. Clemson isn't the Clemson we've known for the past 10 to 15 years right now, as it seems. Florida State had a great season last year, a lot of turnover on their team as well. So if Miami's going to compete, they better start competing this year. And I want to say one thing, too. I always get a kick out of the ACC and Miami because Miami made its bones as an independent, which meant they can pick their schedule. Now, granted, they never shied away from anybody, playing Florida, playing Florida State, playing Oklahoma way back in the day, playing Arkansas on the road, LSU's. They did it all back then. But I also thought they would love the Big East because they were the big dog back then, which means you can run teams up the flagpole. Kids love to see it, and that's an advantage here in recruiting. Now, Miami thought that same thing was going to happen in the ACC, where it's going to be Florida State on one side, Florida State on one side, Miami on the other side. It hasn't worked out in their way. So I laugh at this and say, boy, if Clemson moves on and also Florida State moves on from the ACC, but Miami stays, Miami will be back as a national power within 5 years because that record will be appropriate to what they have, and that brings in the talent and the recruits, and the fan base will buy back in. So Florida State, have at it. You'll go to the SEC, we'll never hear from you again. Clemson, you'll go to the SEC, we'll never hear from you again. Miami will be a national power within 5 years if that happens.
Bold words from a man that has not seen Miami win an ACC title. Just to say, the Hurricanes projected to maybe make some noise this year. Plus 440, third best price in the conference. 9.5 the win total for Miami, despite the fact that Mario Cristobal in his 2 years in Coral Gables has a losing record overall at 12-13. 9.5 is the win total, but the under has the juice. Donnie, there was a lot of thought about Miami, that in year number 3 under Mario Cristobal, they can do kind of akin to what Steve Sarkisian did last year in Austin. 2 relatively disappointing years, but a huge leap forward for the program entering year number 3. They've got the pieces in place. Cam Ward, the transfer from Wazoo. Damian Martinez, the transfer running back from Oregon State as well. And frankly, you see the odds optimism. That is how they will be evaluated. I'll just wait with some patience to see it before I start to believe it. This year, Donnie, what do you think that ceiling is for your Canes?
I'll tell you, you showed that graphic, which is so awesome for this season. I love it because Miami's not supposed to do damage on the national stage. Win total 9.5, which means a couple losses there. Title 60-1. Look at the college football playoff number, though. It's a plus 210 price. That is fantastic. Like, to get in, to win a championship, you have to get into the college football playoff. Now, granted, when we take a look at long shots, 60-1 is a long shot. 20-1 is a long shot. Plus 210, that's viability. Like, if they just play regular football by the end of the season, they're going to be in possibly making the college football playoff. That's all you can ask for nowadays.
One of my favorite storylines entering 2024. How do those 7 at-large bids go? Is it mostly Big Ten and SEC dominated, or will we see some in the ACC and the Big 12? Olympic talk next.
As of July 22nd, we start a new deal with a monster distribution platform called SportsGrid, and we'll be live every day on national radio on Sirius XM channel 159, and we will be live on their national television platform every day from 10 a.m. till noon.
Only on SportsGrid.
If this wind, like we have out of the Northwest, was here all week, it would be insane watching these guys play in it. But it's going to be a southwest wind, which makes it a little easier as far as the direction of the wind. The guys will have it a little bit of a break on the back nine. But it is such a fun golf course, one that I really do think tests every single aspect of your game.
Only on SportsGrid.
Now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. That's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
As we shared yesterday on a Wednesday, despite opening ceremonies for the Summer Olympiad in Paris being tomorrow afternoon on a Friday, we did have some Olympic action underway. We had some rugby on the pitch. We also had some men's soccer get underway with all 16 nations that qualified for the soccer tournament on the field yesterday. And in one of the first two matches of the day, it was Argentina versus Morocco. Morocco seemed destined to pull off an upset. They led 2-1 going into stoppage time. In the 16th minute of stoppage time, Argentina scored a wild goal. The celebration started for the Argentines. The Moroccan fans, though, upset with what could have been a questionable non-offsides. They start throwing bottles onto the field. They're mad. The refs blow the game. Everybody thinks it is done, but it wasn't really. An hour and a half goes by, and then for a reason that truly has not been explained, at least as of yet, the officials go back. They deem the equalizer null. Offsides on Argentina. So then after about a 3-hour delay, the refs bring the two clubs back onto the pitch to finish the final 3 minutes of regulation. Argentina does lose 2-1. Morocco pulls off an upset to start off the Olympic men's soccer tournament. But as crazy and as controversial of an ending as you will see in any sport to start the Olympic Games.
Hey, how about this? Ready, Ben? Like, I throw my hat in the ring on a lot of things. And I don't want to be FIFA right now. I don't want to be commissioner of FIFA. I just want to be commissioner of the Olympic Soccer Exchange right now. Because you know what we're doing? Okay. No offsides.
That's what it's
no
called.
Offsides in the tournament at all. No offsides in the tournament at all. How about that? We don't have to go to VAR. We're not doing VAR at all. No offsides. Open this game up. Let's have some fun. Let's not have controversies. Let's not have By the way, is this like the only sport that does this, Ben? Every time you get a goal scored, you can't even celebrate if you have a ticket in your hand because you have to wait 20 seconds here for VAR to happen. Can you imagine in the NFL? Touchdown, yes, Christian McCaffrey cashes that ticket for me. Anytime touchdown. And you got to be like, let me wait. Oh, commercial break? Yes, finally, I can celebrate this. Ridiculous, man. It can't be that hard at this point. It should be called immediately, stop play. If you didn't, it's over. The goal counts here. Enough with this VAR nonsense.
Well said. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Has replay, has robotic officiating gone too far? So later in the day, it was the host nation and the gold medal favorites, that being France, taking on the United States national team at the U23 level. And France did what they were expected to do, a hefty favorite in the match. Again, the favorites to win the gold medal. They hammered the Americans 3-0. What are we doing in soccer, man?
Yeah. Now, let's get to the point here, right? You want to editorialize? I can do it right now for you. In the past, we've seen, and sometimes arguments for and against, they don't deserve equal pay, the men's team and the women's team. The women would argue, forget about the actual dollars that are coming in. We're so far better than the men's team, we should just be paid accordingly. And some people might say that's ridiculous. It's just about revenues. I'm here to tell you right now, the women were right all along at this point. And I'm at the point right now where the men should give up every cent they have and just give it to the women's soccer team. Because for the past 40 years, what have we been doing? Wasting money. Hundreds of millions of dollars probably spent since like 1990 till now on a product that is getting more horrendous on a year-to-year basis. Except the women's team. Always providing the excitement. They have the medals. They have the World Cup victories here. Give them all the money and shut down American soccer. You know what, MLS? I'm looking at you too. I don't even want to see you on my TV screen anymore. Just women's soccer, professionally and amateurs. That's all we need in this country. Take the men out of the equation. Defund it. Defund the men's soccer team and give it all to the women here so I can actually enjoy a sport where we might be able to compete. How about that, Ben?
I cannot lie. The way that started, I got very, very nervous to be here on this program. But I kind of, I guess, agree with the point. Kyle Bonn from Sporting News. If you are here in the waiting room, in the green room virtually, I apologize. Oh, thank goodness he is not, but he will join us next. The United States women's soccer team gets underway today. They are the gold medal favorites at plus 175 in front of Spain by 25 cents. They take on, let me see who the opener is against. Zambia in the opener, minus 3,000 for the Americans to win their opening match at the Olympic Games. We had other things happening today. Men's rugby, they're just flying through group play
we good
in
at
the
rugby?
sevens. Men's and women's archery in the ranking round, as Donnie loved. And again, we've got women's handball and women's soccer underway today.
Take
We're
all
okay
that
in
men's
rugby. I
soccer
think we
money,
need to
Ben.
win
Take
today.
it all and give it away. Give it away. Give it away here.
Take it to break. Next.
As of July 22nd, we start a new deal with a monster distribution platform called SportsGrid, and we'll be live every day on national radio on Sirius XM channel 159, and we will be live on their national television platform every day from 10 a.m. till noon.
Only on SportsGrid.
If this wind like we have out of the Northwest was here all week, it would be insane watching these guys play. And if it's going to be a southwest wind, which makes it a little easier as far as the direction of the wind, and the guys will have it a little bit of a break on the back nine. But it is such a fun golf course, one that I really do think tests every single aspect of your game.
Only on SportsGrid.
Now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. Aaron Fox, DeMontis Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. But that's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on this Thursday on the early line for a second consecutive day. Kyle Bonn of Sporting News joins us here on TEL. Yesterday, he was here to preview the opening day of Olympic action in the men's soccer tournament. Beautifully explained. He's got his work cut out for him today to try to tell us and make sense of what happened in one of the opening matches between Argentina and Morocco yesterday over in Paris. Kyle, we appreciate the time. Thank you for being here for a second straight day on the early line.
Of course, yeah, let's do it. Wow. It's funny because they say in baseball every day you see something new, and it feels like that's been the case in international soccer too the last couple of months. I mean, goodness gracious.
This summer has been crazy. Kyle had a bird's eye and front row view at all that we saw in the craziness to end out the Copa America tournament as well. And they did not miss a beat on the opening day of Olympic soccer action. So, Kyle, let's get to the end of it. Donnie and I have tried to explain, just kind of following the notes of how the ending came to be yesterday between Argentina and Morocco. Can you please explain to us what happened at the end of stoppage time between the Moroccans and the Argentines?
Yeah, so the first major weirdness of the game was 15 minutes of stoppage. For a
stoppage.
I believe we're having some technical difficulties at an unfortunate time as we were go ahead, Donnie, please. Yeah,
By the
you
way,
take it.
I'm glad he brought that up, because this isn't even like just a tangent for me. He is correct about that. I was following along on the internet, Ben, and when I saw, I didn't know it was possible. Like, could you just add 37 minutes of stoppage time? Like, usually it's 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. That stoppage time was outrageous here. So it looks like we do have Kyle back. I love where you're going with this. Please help me out. How much stoppage time can we actually have here, Kyle?
Yeah. It's that was certainly like the first oddity of all of this that happened.
Yeah.
And, Morocco was time wasting. There was a pitch invader, but 15 minutes felt outlandish. Now, looking at a lot of the other Olympic Games, this appears to be some sort of directive, because we've gotten a ton of stoppage time in basically every Olympic game so far. So I guess this is something they're going with. But it was weird as heck. And it felt like they were trying to get Argentina as many opportunities as possible to equalize. So, of course, in the 16th minute of stoppage time, 15 minutes had gone by. In the 16th minute, Argentina equalized. It was an insane equalizer, first of all. Just truly wild. I mean, it hit the post, the goalie made a save, all this stuff, and then it goes in. Moroccan fans were upset about the stoppage time. And so they started hurling projectiles and running onto the field. So the game ends, or so we thought, and it's a draw, 2-2. Turns out that we got word about 15 minutes after the game that the game might not be over. The official Olympic, website listed the game as suspended due to this fan nonsense. Then it went final. And there was some weird reporting from the Argentina reporters that, hey, we're trying to figure out whether it's safe for them to come out and play a couple more minutes because the game's not technically over. There's still a minute or two left because of the time wasting during the stoppage time, yada, yada. So then when the game goes final on the official Olympic website, we all go, all right, that's it. They've just decided to call it, which seemed the most sensible thing to do because you've already played so much stoppage time. You got the goal. Let's just end it. Then there's word that the goal might not stand and the game may not actually be over. And that was the weirdest part. So ultimately, I'll cut to the chase here. They come out, they bring the players back out for 10 minutes of warm up. Then they review the VAR footage. Then they cancel the goal. Then they play 3 more minutes, and then the game actually ends. What seems to be the case is, I guess the referee decided that the game was suspended, not complete. We all thought it was complete. Even the Olympic Committee thought it was complete. But the referee was like, hey, this game is suspended, not finished. So that's what they're going with, and it felt real weird.
I mean, wildness all the way across the board. I mean, no doubt about it at that point. So we'll see. Like, making up the rules as they go sometimes doesn't always work out in your favor. We'll see as we advance and move on. Now, talking about advancing and moving on. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to jump in here, too, because this is an interesting perspective from a betting point of view. I don't have much information to add, but I do think that we should review this because the game technically went final from like a information aggregation point of view. So the data providers that a lot of these betting sites use got a final result. So I'm pretty sure a lot of books paid out bets as far as money line, over under, that kind of a thing. And that got reversed. So it's super weird. And I'd be interested to hear from anybody who's listening that may have had bets paid out and then retracted or vice versa, because from a data provider point of view, the game went final. And so it's an odd one from a betting perspective.
It really is. And by the way, Kyle, real quick on this, like I've had those instances there was being one of those data providers, and I've been to games where they go into double and triple overtime where the manual doesn't go through, and I've accidentally shut down the app, which tells the actual application that the game is over. So I've been through it on a couple different occasions at that point. So it is a wild scenario that the bells do go off behind the scenes, but it's one thing certainly that we haven't seen before. France, USA, something that we always see now, Kyle. Team USA not performing up to their capabilities. I know they weren't supposed to win yesterday. What did you take out of that 3-0 game? And is there a chance that Team USA can still move on throughout these before we get to the knockout stage?
Yeah. I said, yesterday that I didn't think it was possible for the U.S. to really perform maybe where the fans want them to at this tournament. The roster isn't quite there. The coaching isn't quite there. It just doesn't feel like it's going to click. And then you watch the first half of this game, the first 60 minutes, really, and you go, okay, maybe they could do something here. And then it all fell apart. So I don't think 3-0 is a fair reflection of how they played. But I think ultimately it might be a fair reflection of that the fact that they might be a little overmatched in this tournament, because it just took a couple of individual errors to really bring it to a screeching halt. They played really well. There was a header off the crossbar that they had at 1-0 that could have tied it, which would have made it a very different game. So they played really well, but it's just a couple of goalkeeping errors and a couple of defensive mistakes and a failure to finish chances. And now you're staring at 3-0 to the hosts.
More Olympic soccer getting underway today. The women's soccer tournament beginning on this Thursday morning. Only a 12-nation tournament. Kyle, is the format similar to what we see on the men's side? Or if not, how does it differ?
Yeah, so the format itself is similar, but it is a full professional competition. So, it's not a youth tournament. All full professional players are allowed to play because in the women's side of things, the Olympics are still a major tournament to them. And so I think the U.S. can play well. I think the problem is the rest of the world has officially caught up, quote unquote. I think we as fans need to understand that no longer is the U.S. going to dominate international tournaments with maybe one or two competitors. The rest of the world has caught up to the point where I think Spain is the more talented team, full stop. The U.S. could play its best and still lose to Spain in the final. So I think the U.S. will play well. I think they have a shot at a medal, if not gold, but I think Spain is the best team in the field.
A 25-cent distinction only between Team USA and Spain. Plenty more to come on the early line up next here on SportsGrid.
As of July 22nd, we start a new deal with a monster distribution platform called SportsGrid, and we'll be live every day on national radio on SiriusXM channel 159, and we will be live on their national television platform every day from 10 a.m. till noon.
Only on SportsGrid.
If this wind like we have out of the Northwest was here all week, it would be insane watching these guys play in it. But it's going to be a southwest wind, which makes it a little easier as far as the direction of the wind. The guys will have it a little bit of a break on the back nine. But it is such a fun golf course, one that I really do think tests every single aspect of your game.
Only on SportsGrid.
Now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. That's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The early line. only on SportsGrid.
Let's go around Major League Baseball. The odds outlook in both of the pennant races live right here on this Thursday on the early line on SportsGrid. Most of the midweek sets have come to a close. A fourth and final game today in Los Angeles between the Dodgers and their rivals from up north, the San Francisco Giants. In returning for the Dodgers on the bump today, Clayton Kershaw, a familiar face, is back in L.A. So, DRS, when we entered the All-Star break, with the week prior, the Philadelphia Phillies sweeping Los Angeles in the city of brotherly love, and the Dodgers entered the break dropping 8 of their last 11, it looked as though Philly had made its statement. It was the top team in the National League, and it closed the gap from the odds perspective with L.A. Well, the Phils have lost both of their sets since returning from the All-Star break, and the Dodgers have won 5 of 6 games. Now that gap a little bit wider at the top, plus 150 for the Dodgers, plus 210 for the Phils. The Braves had a plus 450 price earlier this week, backed by a bucket, plus 550.
Yeah, and again, these prices are going to change. We have to understand it's not really a spot here based on where these teams are in the standings. Otherwise, it would just go odds repeated. Who's in first, who's in second, who's in third, and the odds would be accordingly here. We're anticipating, again, just under now, feels like a week out of that trade deadline. What are we going to get? Because that's going to change those numbers quite a bit as opposed to what's actually taking place on the field now. And you might ask like that, Ben and Donnie, that doesn't make any sense. Why would it not be what's on the field? It's projections of what these two teams will look like in the standings at the end of September heading into October baseball. What are these rosters going to look like? Is Clayton Kershaw going to come back and say, hey, I pitched 2 games, I just don't have it anymore, and hang them up at this point? Are the Dodgers going to go out and get a Tarek Skubal at the trade deadline? Because that will shift odds, no doubt about it, regardless of anything that takes place on the diamond here. So that's what I'm waiting for to watch. I don't disagree with how these two teams are shaping up. And I also told you, Ben, last week when the Phillies swept the Dodgers, what are you taking out of it? Yeah, it's great. The Phillies will probably end up the number 1 overall seed, but the Phillies aren't going to take on these B-level pitchers in the playoffs. You're going to get frontline starters that we expect to be either healthy or traded onto that Dodgers roster. So I don't have any complaints with the way that sits with the Dodgers up top at a plus 150.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good point there, DRS, as well. Philadelphia did lose its only series following the Dodgers before the All-Star break. But the Phils still have a 3.5-game advantage over L.A. at this moment for that best record in the National League. There are 3 teams around MLB that have won more than 60 games this year. The Phillies with 64, the Dodgers now with 61, and the Guardians in the American League, 61 wins. We'll talk AL pennant prices in just a moment. What is also very compelling in the NL is the wild card race. The Mets sweeping the Subway set for the season overall, but this week over the Yankees, now in that second spot in the National League wild card standings. The Mets only a game and a half behind the Braves, who are on a 4-game skid, having lost 7 of their last 10. So when you put the Braves and the Mets, but we'll separate there just a game and a half, the Cardinals and the Padres currently tied for the third and final National League wild card spot. The Redbirds were blanked yesterday by the Buccos in Pittsburgh. There are 5 teams right now, Donnie, for the final 2 wild card spots, in the 3 sitting outside currently, or the 2 sitting outside because the Padres and the Cardinals are tied, all separated by just a game and a half. That's the Mets, Cardinals, Padres, D-backs, Pirates. 5 teams battling for the final 2 wild card spots, only separated by just a game and a half, now past the 100-game point of this Major League Baseball campaign.
Yeah, and you probably would take it as low. Let's just say if the season ended today, right? Again, it would be the Braves, Mets, and the Cardinals that would make it into the playoffs. But some teams are close. You probably would go down to and say legitimate chance. The San Francisco Giants at 4.5 games back. They still have some pretty good frontline starting pitching, a decent lineup, as long as their organization, I haven't heard any of this, by the way, that they're going to be sellers at the deadline. I don't think that's the case. Cubs, Nationals, Rockies, Marlins, you can put them to bed at this point. So I do think there's a lot of teams that are going to be up for it. Also, the Pittsburgh Pirates, we've talked about it so many times. Just keep that young core core intact throughout the rest of the season, don't shut anybody down, quite frankly, they probably are going to make the playoffs. But I think the biggest jump here is now that we've told you all season long, the Atlanta Braves are still a quality ball club. They're just really injured right now. Love the front office.
Yeah.
Let's see what type of changes they make. And the reason is because sometimes, Ben, you don't actually look at the standings. You just make that say, I know the Braves are struggling, but they're still going to be there at the end and maybe the third best overall team in the National League. Then you look at the standings and say, wait a second, in the wild card, 2-game lead over the Mets, again, over the Cardinals.
Yeah.
They're right in it. You talk about the Braves losing the next 3 out of 4 games and possibly being fighting for their wild card lives. That's something that I would have anticipated unless I'm looking directly at the standings themselves. And the reason I want to bring up the Braves too is I've told you time and time again, I love that front office. They usually make the right sound decisions at the right moment.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably understanding the same thing we are. Like, yes, there's a chance the Braves can make a run, but what are we actually doing as a Braves franchise at the deadline? Because I've told you, I think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think they can do damage. And we're relying on Chris Sale being unbelievable and a Cy Young award-winning pitcher, something we didn't see coming into the year. The same thing with Ronaldo Lopez. Let's just say if one of them stays, like Sale might win the Cy Young, but Lopez falls off. Are we making moves next week at the deadline to sort of trade away prospects to get a number 3 and a number 4 pitcher to say, you know what, let's get into the playoffs knowing that we probably won't win it? I'm really interested to see what they do at the deadline, Ben.
The Brewers extending the gap in the National League Central, a 6-game lead. It does stand out to me that both San Diego and Arizona have a more optimistic odds outlook than the Mets and the Cardinals, who are the 2 teams in the wild card spots right now. The Padres tied with St. Louis for that third and final. The Dodgers have won 5 of 6 since returning from the All-Star break, starting to get healthier. Tyler Glasnow, despite a loss yesterday, back. Clayton Kershaw makes his season debut, year number 17 in Los Angeles today in 2024. Mookie Betts will be back. Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And as Donnie has mentioned, they can always make a move at the deadline. 61 and 42 to get to 100 wins plus 170. The Dodgers have won at least 100 games in each of the last 4 full seasons in Major League Baseball. Clayton Kershaw makes his season debut today against the Giants. Year number 17. He is now 36 years old. He was darn good last year in the regular season. Only postseason outing, just a third of an inning of work. Got shelled by the D-backs. Now to the American League. Up next.
As of July 22nd, we start a new deal with a monster distribution platform called SportsGrid, and we'll be live every day on national radio on SiriusXM channel 159, and we will be live on their national television platform every day from 10 a.m. till noon.
Only on SportsGrid.
If this wind like we have out of the Northwest was here all week, it would be insane watching these guys play in it. But it's going to be a southwest wind, which makes it a little easier as far as the direction of the wind. The guys will have it a little bit of a break on the back nine. But it is such a fun golf course, one that I really do think tests every single aspect of your game.
Only on SportsGrid.
DeMar DeRozan now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. That's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
The National League pennant prices now to the American League. The Yankees are still the favorites to win the American League pennant. Is it justified with how the Yankees have played since the middle of June? Capped off this week by a Subway Series and season sweep against the New York Mets. Not the Yankees sweeping, but the Yankees being swept. They lost all 4 games against their in-city foe in the Amazons this season. And Donnie, we highlighted this earlier on. From the start of the first Subway set back at Citi Field in Queens at the end of June, the Yankees are now 8-16 after being swept once again by the Mets this week. Meanwhile, the New York Mets, much more of an optimistic outlook, 15-9 from that point. What has to happen for the Yankees to not be booked as the favorites anymore in the American League pennant, a place they have been pretty much since the opening week of the year?
The Orioles have to start running away with the division, but they're not helping out in that aspect. You start to say to yourself, you're in striking distance. It's 1.5 today, right? Is the distance between the Baltimore Orioles and the New York Yankees. You know what has to happen?
Yeah.
3 games, 4 games, 5 games, 6 games. And they say, oh, wow, how about this? The Yankees are going to have to go the wild card route without home field advantage. Yes, but also, we're taking a look at the trade deadline coming up, and I think a lot of these prices are going to be held over because the one thing I keep continuously saying, this isn't bad right now for the Yankees. Donnie, what do you mean? Like, wouldn't they rather be in first? Of course they would rather be in first place, but you get so much pressure, and that's a pressure-cooking environment to be a New York Yankees team just getting shelled by the New York Mets and now falling back in the standings, and nothing is going right. The front office, which is basically Brian Cashman, he can't just say, we'll work this out in August and September. We have the guys to do it in this locker room. That's not the case. And also, yesterday was a big game. Same way I talk about the Philadelphia Phillies, right? Coming out of the break. Let me just see what Zach Wheeler's going to do, regardless of wins or losses. Looked really good in that start. He'll probably be back to being Zach Wheeler the rest of the way. No worries here. We were waiting on that for Garrett Cole yesterday. That was a game yesterday for Garrett Cole. 7 innings pitched, 100 pitches, 1 earned run, and a victory. And even if they didn't win, let's say the bullpen blew up late in the game, you say, it doesn't matter. Garrett Cole looks like he found what we needed him to find. And now if we can just get Luis Gil to perform at a high level, Rodon to be average, we'll go out at the break. And you know what we'll do as well? We'll add on another pitcher. But you saw yesterday, what I said, I wish I had I can hit the bells and whistles on my computer here because those alarm bells are starting to go off. Because if you don't have Garrett Cole back as an efficient pitcher down the stretch, I don't think the Yankees can win. And I was basing a lot of that, Ben, on my theory still. I'm still trusting the Yankees. Because number one, I think they'll make moves. But number two, I was just expecting Garrett Cole just to be back to being, I don't need Cy Young Garrett Cole, but just give me the 2.75, 2.85 ERA Garrett Cole, and we'll be just fine. The one I saw yesterday, that is going to be really a struggle. If you don't have good Garrett Cole down the stretch, again, I'm not sure the Yankees can win it.
That's the optimism for the Yankees, I think, still being booked as the pennant favorites. Yes, there are players that are injured for the Yanks in their offensive lineup, but moves have to be made. And if you're baking in a price as a favorite for expected moves at the deadline, that's not really a team that I think you have the confidence in betting. As we compare the Yankees and the Orioles, for the second time in the weeks surrounding the All-Star break, Baltimore is squandering opportunities to extend its lead and maybe run away with the American League East division. In the final week before the All-Star break, the Yanks and the O's played in that final weekend set. The Yankees won 2 of 3. The Orioles won the finale to take a 1-game lead into the break. But before that, the Yankees lost a midweek set to Tampa. The Orioles had to play the lowly Cubs, who were struggling. They got swept at home in Camden Yards. Okay, the Yankees swept this week by the Mets in a short 2-game set in the Subway Series. Who are the Orioles playing? The bottom of the barrel in the National League in Miami, and they've lost the opening 2 games of the series 6-3. Baltimore, wake up, please, will ya? Meanwhile, a change in the American League West. The Astros a 1-game lead, now the third best price to win the American League pennant at 6-1. The Mariners are struggling. They were 11 games above 500 on June 22nd, 45-34. They have lost 17 of their last 25, including being swept by the Angels in the midweek. Now 16-1, the Astros in first. We'll talk more Yankees with John Yastrzemski later on in our third hour. But just to paint the picture of where the Yankees have been from a pennant price all year long, opening day, second best number, actually some market moving against them because of the injury uncertainty around Garrett Cole in spring training. But after they swept the Astros in that opening 4-game set, they pretty much became the favorites to win the American League pennant and have held strong there despite the struggles since the middle of June. Hour number 3 starts after the break, live right here on TEL.